the time, because Trinidad, one shot hurts you.
Pernell, sweet pea.
Can dodge the next time.
The other, a relentless knockout artist with dynamite in both hands. On one side, the elusive southpaw genius, Pernell Whitaker. On the other, Puerto Rico's pride and unbeaten force of nature, Felix Trinidad. This was more than a title defense. It was a collision of styles, reputations, and eras. And hovering over it all was the looming shadow of Oscar de la Hoya, the super fight that Trinidad desperately wanted to secure. From the opening bell, Whitaker did what Whitaker had always done best. He slid into range with that subtle, almost mocking rhythm, slipping just outside the arc of danger. His head movement, his timing, his instinct to smother and frustrate, these were the tools that had baffled champions before. Trinidad, as powerful as he was, had a history of vulnerability early in fights. He had been dropped before, more than once, but each time, he had risen with vengeance, repaying knockdowns with knockouts. Round one began as a tactical chess match. Whitaker closed distance quickly, refusing to allow Trinidad to extend his long, thudding jab. The southpaw positioning became critical immediately, lead feet stepping on each other, inches determining angles, and angles determining survival. Whitaker was first to establish rhythm. A sharp left hand snapped into Trinidad's face just before the bell, punctuating a round where his precision outshone the younger man's raw power. But Trinidad was not there to box cautiously. He was there to impose himself. In the second round, the tone began to shift. Trinidad's straight right hand, a textbook weapon against a southpaw, started finding its path. He wasn't throwing recklessly as he had earlier in his career. Gone was the wild abandon that once left him open to counters. This version of Trinidad was measured, calculated. Every punch carried intention. Then it happened. A straight right hand, clean, sudden, perfectly timed, crashed through Whitaker's defenses. For a split second, the unthinkable unfolded. Whitaker's legs betrayed him, and he fell to the canvas. It wasn't chaos. It wasn't a barrage. It was a single, devastating exclamation point. Whitaker rose, as champions do, but the psychological shift had already occurred. The third round revealed something unusual. Whitaker, the master of invisibility, seemed more stationary than anyone had ever seen him. His head movement, once hypnotic, was fading in stretches. Trinidad began landing the jab with alarming regularity, following with right hands that thudded against chin and temple. The punch stats told a startling story. Trinidad was landing at nearly double the accuracy most of Whitaker's previous opponents had managed. This was not supposed to happen. Whitaker had built a career on making elite fighters look ordinary. Yet here was Trinidad, not just finding him, but hurting him. By the fourth and fifth rounds, the fight had evolved into something more physical, more confrontational. Whitaker tried to rough it up inside, pulling, pushing, daring Trinidad to trade in tight quarters. It became less about finesse and more about pride. Trinidad's corner sensed weakness. They urged him forward. Go get him. They believed Whitaker could not hurt their man. And Trinidad believed it too. Each right hand now came with authority. Whitaker absorbed punishment with a chin that had never betrayed him in his career. He had been knocked down before, but never knocked out. Not by Roger Mayweather. Not by Buddy McGirt. Not by anyone. Yet this was a different kind of pressure. Trinidad wasn't throwing to score points. He was throwing to end careers. In the sixth round, the momentum seemed irreversible. Trinidad stood firm, eyes wide, balanced and coiled. Whitaker landed a left across the top, but Trinidad barely blinked. His confidence was growing, his patience deepening. The earlier narrative, that Whitaker would bewilder him, was being rewritten punch by punch. But champions do not surrender quietly. Round 7 brought a resurgence. Whitaker dug to the body. Sharp left hands pierced through. A right hand downstairs made Trinidad wobble, just slightly. The crowd shifted. For the first time since the knockdown, Trinidad looked momentarily unsettled. Whitaker pressed, landing combinations, reviving memories of the defensive wizard who once ruled the division. It was Whitaker's best round of the fight, a reminder of who he had been and perhaps still was. Yet Trinidad answered in round 8 with venom. An uppercut snapped Whitaker's head back violently. Another right hand followed, then another. The half-hook, half-uppercut hybrid punch seemed to freeze Whitaker mid-step. Trinidad went into full pursuit mode, stalking, firing straight rights like a marksman with infinite ammunition. Whitaker held, clinched, used every veteran trick in the book to survive. The ebb and flow intensified. Round 9 became a statement. Trinidad's father reportedly urged him not to coast. This wasn't just about winning, it was about dominance. About making a case that he had handled Whitaker more convincingly than De La Hoya ever had. And visually, that case was building. By round 10, the scorecards told a grim story for Whitaker. He was behind, badly. He needed something dramatic. A knockdown, a knockout, a miracle. Instead, Trinidad continued methodically landing clean punches, driving Whitaker into the ropes. At one point, Whitaker sat down from a punch that could easily have been ruled a knockdown. It was called a slip, but the message was clear. Trinidad's power was dictating everything. The 11th round saw Trinidad controlling distance beautifully, jabbing, stepping back, firing straight rights without overcommitting. The raw slugger of old had matured into a composed executioner. Whitaker landed flashes of brilliance, quick counters, slick pivots, but they were moments, not sustained chapters. And then came the 12th. Both men were tired. Both had endured. Whitaker, battered yet defiant, tried to summon one last stand. He dug to the body again, searching for something that might reverse fate. But Trinidad's resolve never cracked. A hard left hook landed cleanly. Whitaker's face told the story of a warrior who had given everything and absorbed perhaps the toughest punishment of his career. The final seconds ticked away with Trinidad pressing forward, not recklessly, but authoritatively. When the bell rang, there was no ambiguity in the air. The younger champion had not merely survived the test. He had passed it emphatically. The judges confirmed what the eye had seen. Unanimous decision. And still IBF welterweight champion of the world, Felix Tito Trinidad. It was more than a victory. It was a declaration. He had taken on one of the slickest defensive masters in boxing history and beaten him at his own game, landing cleaner, harder, more frequently. He had dropped him, hurt him repeatedly, outworked him, outpowered him, and perhaps most importantly, outshone the ghost of Oscar de la Hoya in the process. For Whitaker, it was the embodiment of championship heart. A once untouchable technician standing toe-to-toe with a younger destroyer, refusing to retreat into pure survival mode even when the safer option beckoned. He fought with pride, with defiance, with scars. For Trinidad, it was proof of evolution. The reckless puncher, who once got dropped early, had become a composed, devastating force who could blend patience with brutality. And now the question hung heavy in the boxing world. Had Trinidad just earned his super fight? Did he look better against Whitaker than De La Hoya ever did? Would power conquer precision in their inevitable clash? Or would styles once again shape destiny? The desert drama and the garden spectacle both went the distance, but this night belonged to Trinidad. And boxing had a new center of gravity. What did you think of Trinidad's performance? Did he truly look more impressive against Whitaker than De La Hoya did? And if you had to pick, who wins in their prime, Tito or Sweet Pea? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another deep dive into boxing's greatest battles.